I'm Roberto Castro, and this is the Course Record Show. The trends, technology, and strategy driving the business of golf. Welcome back to the Course Record Show. I am joined by Scott Blevins, President and General Manager of TopTracer, which is owned by TopGolf. Scott, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to do this.
Awesome. So TopTracer started as a ball flight line people saw on TV, but now the technology's really moved into everyday ranges, including Topgolf, your parent company. Uh, when you joined in 2022, was the product offering still mostly focused on broadcast, or where did it stand with the more commercial, consumer-facing range product?
Yeah, by the time I joined, the team had done a great job, continuing kind of the legacy broadcast business, but also really diving into the range business and bringing that experience to consumers, both at Topgolf and then, hundreds of ranges at that point, worldwide. So I think they were, roughly 6 or 7 years into the range business by the time I joined,
Okay.
and had some nice, great accounts all over the globe, really. At that point, we've just accelerated the business since then.
Awesome. So you report to a newish CEO at Topgolf, David McKillips. I read an interview with him from the spring, and two of his top priorities, one was to upgrade the Topgolf experience for core golfers, which I thought was interesting. And part of that
Yep,
involves going from RFID balls and chipped balls to TopTracer tracking at a Topgolf facility. How far along are you in that
yep.
transition?
We're pretty far along. So now every Topgolf does technically have the TopTracer tracking capability. So the
Okay.
cameras are tracking the shots and running most of the gameplay. What's next is to officially leave that legacy chipped ball, which has some technical things we're working through to make sure the experience actually gets even better than it is today. And then at that point, Topgolf will be able to migrate off of that ball into a real golf ball, which will improve the experience for the player, and also it will move 100% at that point to the TopTracer system.
Another priority that he mentioned was league golf. How involved are you there? I noticed that you're running something called the Ultimate Open experience that culminates at Birkdale at the British Open.
Yep,
I think
yep.
personally connecting pro golf and recreational golf is the next big unlock for the industry. So, how did that promotion work, and how are you thinking about that at Top Golf locations?
Yeah, so our team does a great job just in general on promoting global events around our customer base, which is now 1,500 driving ranges across 38 countries. And we have some peak moments during the year, a lot of times around majors where there are competitions where basically our customers are driving more new customers at their ranges and they come back more often because they can enter the contest as many times as they want.
Okay.
I think we have one player that has had 33 holes in one in a single contest because they wanted to win it. So they hit several thousand shots. So we have some amazing activations going on. And I'm with you on the future of tying in live golf to somehow all of our customer base and gaming at the same time.
Yeah.
We do we tease that a little bit at the Open Championship coming up in a couple of weeks here, where we have on-course activations happening, and we have basically our technology at the Open is running the driving range experience for the players. It's running the broadcast experience for the fans. And then we have 20 different simulator experiences throughout the campus at Birkdale, where some of them are private in private suites, most of them are public. And then basically the consumer can experience all of our technology in so many different ways. They can walk up to the range, scan a QR code, pick the player they want to watch, and they get all the player shot data. They can go to the 12th tee and they'll have a QR code on the tee, and they can, if Scheffler's there hitting a drive, they can scan the QR code and get Scheffler's shot data while he's playing.
Wow.
So there's all these interactive things that are starting to blend, like the tour level experience, and it's also now going to the fans, which I think is like super exciting. And I could see the vision of then connecting all these ranges that aren't necessarily and people that aren't at the event, but getting them somehow involved with that championship would be amazing.
Yep. So the experience at the in the simulators on site at Birkdale, what are they playing? Is it somehow connected to what's happening out on the golf course? Is it a contest that's, ladders up to it somehow? How does that work?
So that's a great question. We have a great partnership with Foresight Sports. So each simulator will be running the Foresight hardware, and that launch data will be driving our gameplay screen. So in every bay, basically the consumer will be able to choose any TopTracer experience they want to do, from a competition to Angry Birds. We got
Okay.
a ton of kit out there, and then you can also play, Pebble Beach or whatever golf. You can do the whole TopTracer experience
Oh, wow.
inside of a without seeing the ball flight, thanks to our partnership with Foresight. So it's actually like simulator experience.
Yeah. Yeah. But I agree with you on the live piece. It's got to be coming down the pike here shortly, right? That it'd
Yes.
be awesome if you could go to the 12th tee and watch Scheffler tee off, go into the 12th green hospitality and play the hole that he just
And play
played.
the same hole. Yes.
Compare your trace to his trace. I've always thought that
Absolutely.
shot level handicapping is a big opportunity in simulator golf, right? If I'm a 20 handicap and I
Yes.
hit a good one for me, how do I level that shot up to fly next to Scotty's? Your good one should be next to his good one.
Yeah.
I think it's coming eventually. I hope, yeah, I would
Amazing.
imagine you guys will be at the forefront of it.
Yeah, we'll probably be working on some parts of that at the Open Championship. So I'll report back in how it goes.
So we mentioned the range product and the range technology, which is
Yep.
tracking golf balls. You log in on your phone. Really, really cool. 1,500 plus
Yep.
customers. You also have something called TopTracer IQ. Explain it to me. It sounds like a property management system. Is it a point of sale? Like if I own or operate a driving range, what problems does it solve for me?
Yeah, great question. So quite simply, what generally happens when a customer installs our range technology is they get a big boost in business in year one. And you can imagine, right? The experience gets enhanced on the range. So people are willing to play more, spend more, come more often. So the range owner is extremely excited that they've delivered a great experience. They're probably making more money. And what they see is new players at their facility. They see more kids. They see women coming out more. They see just a wide range of golfers. So they want to capture that player data so that they can market back to them when they have leagues, when they have
Yeah.
tournaments, when they have events, if they have a special pricing, if they have a Friday night tournament. So TopTracer IQ essentially just captures all that player data and delivers it back to our customer so that they can see how often they're coming, what games they like, and then make offers back to them to come back more often and participate and have more fun. It's a data tool that gives them access to their customer data via an AI agent, and so they can ask questions. How do I grow my business on Tuesday morning from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.? I seem to have a weak spot. Can I promote an offer to these customers, and will they come? And they'll get the answers.
So how do you capture the recreational customer, the golfer data when I log in? Do I have to give an email or a phone number to log into the experience and see my shots flying?
Yeah, all of the data would come back through logged in users through the app. So basically, the facility will promote downloading the TopTracer app. So it's easy to scan when you get there, and it gets you right into gameplay, and it remembers and stores all of your gameplay data. So it's a free app for consumers. It's super intuitive, great to use, shows all the locations of the TopTracer ranges, and just
Yeah.
makes it very fun, fast, and frictionless to kind of get into the gameplay. So that's where that data would be coming back to our partners is through logged in
Awesome.
users.
That to me is a classic example of consumers will give you their data if you give them something in return, right? And I paid
Yes,
$20 for a bucket of balls and I feel like I'm getting the Top Tracer experience for free. Yeah, I'll log in with my name and my email. Yes, I'll download an app if I can track my shots. To me, it feels like you've given the consumer something, they're going to give you the data back, and now the driving range facility is going to be able to use that and extract a lot of value from it.
absolutely. Yeah, it's great for everybody, honestly.
Range business I find really interesting. I mean, personally, I know someone who has one here in Atlanta, and was a good, not great business for a large number of years, and it is a great business now. I mean, they are really making a lot of money.
Yeah.
What separates? I mean, is the industry just so big and booming now that it's kind of tough to screw it up, or what do you think separates a great operator from an okay operator on the driving range side?
The ones that have technology, right, have a leg up because they've got an experience. But just putting in the tech is one thing. An engaged owner who then uh, drives the business with the technology. And we have a couple of customers who have dedicated like an employee to just walk the T line to make sure that customers are engaging the tech.
Yeah,
And they've found that there's an ROI on that employee because the happier the customers are, just getting into the tech. And once you get them rolling, they're all good. But some need help just to get started. So we see the engaged owners that take the next step of making sure that their customers are engaged are the ones that are winning. And then those customers are coming back to that area. And we're starting to see enough driving range data that tells us the operators with tech
yeah.
that are driving tournaments, driving events, and then engaging their customers are starting to take market share from those ranges that are not doing that. It's not an unlimited pie. There's still a pie there, and eventually the ones that are doing the best job gain the share.
Yeah. The gamification piece is so interesting to me. I think it's a very popular buzzword, but I took my
Mm,
10-year-old daughter and her friend to hit in the back nine simulator a couple of weeks ago, and they were having
yep.
fun. And then when the second bay opened up, they started playing long drive. And I mean, their eyes lit up. They're beginner golfers, but competing, like just at that level,
Yes.
competing, they thought it was so
Yes.
much fun. And I think that that really underlies, it's a buzzword for a reason. It was crazy to see it in person.
Yes, and we see it all the time. And I think what's clear is that when you get out in the field and you see younger kids engage with the tech, there's some now that are hitting a shot, the
Yeah.
ball's in the air. They've already turned back to the game screen to see the game screen before the shot lands.
Yeah.
They're very uh focused on what's happening on that screen, and a lot of it is competition. And once they're kind of hooked at that point, they expect that experience every range they go to.
Yeah.
And when they get there and it's not there, they don't have much patience for like hitting a ball without any feedback. It's
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
dynamic.
That's really interesting. Uh, Let me ask you a question about partnerships. I mean, we would mention the one
Yep.
with the RNA. You guys have partnerships with Kemper Sports. You have them RNA, TGL. You're the official ball tracing partner of TGL. Just from
Yep.
an industry perspective, right? I find it interesting to follow partnerships in golf. I find some companies that are trying to get their foothold probably overvalue partnerships. Oh, we have this. Well, what does that mean? Do you have customers? Do you have revenue? Are you getting, you know, dedicated fans and proponents of your product? Like, what's your calculus on the give and get when you're looking at partnerships?
Yeah, I'm a so first of all, I'm a big fan of partnerships. I've done them in my past lives at other businesses, and they can be very meaningful if there is, a clear three-way win, meaning that your partner wins, you win, and then the customer wins.
Yeah,
So there's all that Venn diagram, and in the middle, there has to be like a compelling reason or a compelling offer that is working between those three entities. So I think as long as you focus on the end consumer and what they're getting, you'll get to a good partnership angle. Our partnerships, for instance, PGA of America, official ball tracing technology there,
yep,
it's to your point, a partnership in like name only or headline only is fine. But what really accelerates it is when both sides are bought into what you're trying to achieve. So, and especially with the PGA, they're very bought in that technology is eventually coming to every range. So they want their PGA members educated and and understanding that technology is coming and how do I address it, when do I deliver it. So there's a whole like knowledge base there and education piece, and then there's actually a financial piece to it too, so where everybody wins on kind of these installations. So that's the partnership angle with the multi-course operators is
Yeah,
similar. You master agreement in place, but you still have to go as a brand, educate each facility and work with their needs and listen to what they require because most ranges are different. Uh, and most are operating with a certain thing in mind that they want to achieve. A private club has got different goals than a public course or semi-private. So you just
sure.
have to go. We have to have the master agreement where we work well with the operator, but then we still have the job to do of educating and consulting uh, individual properties within
Yeah.
that group, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I love that concept of putting the consumer in the middle of the partnership and adding value to the consumer. I think that's really where it has to work. That's
Yes.
where I think some of my skepticism, you verbalized it well, where it's like, okay, I see these two people have a partnership, but what does that mean for me as a customer or
Yes.
consumer? So
Yes.
very interesting. You mentioned PGA of America. Stepping back a little bit, your career path, I find it interesting. You started, came out of a PGM program, came up through the golf business, spent 17 years at Adams Golf from the late 90s when the company was in high growth mode. I mean, I saw a quote where they went from 1 million in sales to 85 million in a 3 year period in the 90s, which is crazy. All the way through the 2010s when it leveled off. They were acquired by TaylorMade in 2012, and the company's out of production today. So, I mean, I'd love to
Yep.
hear your version of the arc and maybe why Adams was not able to establish itself over the long term with the Callaway's, Titleist, TaylorMade's, Pings of the world. I think there has to be a great story here.
Yeah, no, it was a tremendous opportunity to start with a company. I started prior to it going public, and we were a very small custom fitting shop. And Barney Adams at the time came out with a great product. I was teaching for Hank Haney at the time. Barney came out with a prototype of a club called the Tight Lies.
Oh yeah,
We did this prototype to our customers who we were trying to fix their 3 and 4 iron shots, and it's very difficult to do, as you know. We handed them this club, and all of a sudden they're hitting it 180 to 200 yards in the air, like they've been playing golf for 20 years. So it really made us as instructors look smart. And so I knocked on Barney's door and asked if I could come work for him because I thought the product was going to be a home run. And then we did an infomercial. It was a home run. The company went public. I think for a long time it was the largest IPO in golf. It's not that anymore, but we raised a bunch of money. Um, did not have a product pipeline really to follow up that home run product.
yeah,
So we brought in Chip Brewer, who's currently Callaway CEO, came in to run the company, and Chip just did an amazing job of building out an R&D team. We built out a sales team, a marketing team, and we eventually got a foothold in other product lines like hybrids and had niches with the Champions Tour that
yep,
then fed PGA Tour and the LPGA. Like we became a full service, product company, and actually gained share and actually did have momentum. So the sale to TaylorMade occurred uh, because we were gaining market share and we had a slot technology that other companies wanted at the time. So I think even if you look at TaylorMade's product line today,
yeah.
some of slot technology is still in it, and that was the original Adams Golf slot technology that essentially they purchased and put into their full line.
So why did TaylorMade stop investing in that line? When I got on tour, half the guys were
Yeah,
carrying the hybrids, and
yeah.
the irons were super popular, like you said, with maybe more of the Champions Tour set. So that's 2012. What happened?
So I think, like, I probably won't get the dates exactly right, but uh, they had multiple CEO leaders that then came in succession.
Yeah,
So I think just in terms of their own company strategy, they probably looked at the technology and the size of Adams. The size of our business relative to theirs was still very small.
yeah,
We were a niche company and a niche brand. And I think the calculus for them at the time was, do we want to have a separate brand or do we just want to take the technology, put it in our line where we can sell incrementally more dollars across the globe? Adams was um, I wouldn't call us global at that point. We were very heavy North America with
yeah,
some light touch in other countries, but we weren't a global brand with offices in 50 countries with a distribution network, right?
right.
So I don't know their calculus. You'd probably have to ask them on that. I thought it was a great brand. I still see it around today. Seniors, women, hybrids. It was a really good niche.
Yeah, and one thing that Adidas owned TaylorMade at the time, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
right.
So
Yes,
TaylorMade was a niche company in the Adidas portfolio. So where does that leave
that's correct.
Adams as a niche company in the TaylorMade portfolio? So
That's correct.
um, yeah,
Yep.
I think some of these M&A deals, it's always exciting when they start and you get attention for 6 months, when you get swallowed up by a much bigger entity, and then it's easy to lose attention when you're small. So very interesting, rapid growth. I love your story of knocking on Barney Adams' door. I have a mentor who says, go to a small company, go to a company that has more business than they know what to do with, and you can really get noticed and you can really move forward. I think that fits what you did at that time with
Yep.
Adams.
Yep. Very fortunate. Yep.
You moved from there to you stayed with Adams, but more on the marketing side, and then you took a
Yep.
role as the chief product officer at Balfour, which is the
Yep.
class rings, yearbooks, gift
Yep.
companies. So you've spent your life in the golf industry. Was it liberating to try something different, or how was that transition?
It was. At the time, I had a startup going, just a sales and marketing startup, and I was starting to gain customers. So I was probably at the point of starting to scale that business a little bit. And then I got a cold call from a recruiter um, on this Balfour job, and I looked at it as essentially a 125-year-old startup. It was a conglomeration of really about five companies. They hadn't launched new products in the previous 15 years. They had a lot of legacy products, and it was a slow melting ice cube. So I thought it was an interesting challenge to basically come in and redo the entire product portfolio, start gaining market share again, move the revenue up, and I just thought it was a nice, hey, this is a great 5-year challenge that we could come in and bring
Yeah,
in a team and do. And so that's what we did, and I really enjoyed getting a look at a different business, number one, and then two, it was a digital transformation project. So most of the orders were still coming in via mail with cash and checks.
yeah,
And so we flipped this entire business to, I think when we left, it was 90+% digital orders
wow,
at the time, which was very fortunate because toward the end of the project, obviously we had COVID and
yeah,
had to go through like, digital became extremely important at the right time.
yeah. At CapTech, we worked with a different company in that space during COVID to for that exact reason, right? How do you move some of these in-person graduation type products and experiences into the digital world? So I didn't work on that, but it's a heck of a story. And if you had started that journey in the late 2010s, you were very well timed. So very
Right.
interesting.
Right.
How did you move back into the golf world with TopGolf TopTracer? Another call from a headhunter?
Yeah, well, this one was interesting because obviously I had kept up with Chip
Yeah.
throughout the time, right? And he's doing a great job at Callaway, so we speak on and off. He was a board member at TopGolf, so occasionally I would talk to him when he would come to Dallas for meetings. I also knew Ben Sharp, who at the time was president of TopTracer. Ben was at TaylorMade when Adams was purchased by TaylorMade, so I worked with Ben, and then Artie Stars, who was at the
Yeah.
time the CEO, uh, is a neighbor of mine, and I had known Artie through friend groups and things of that nature. So between Chip and Artie and Ben, I had had enough golf conversations to know that A, Top Golf is a phenomenal brand and super interesting, but B, Top Tracer, which combined golf and technology
Yeah.
and kind of space that I was used to seemed to me, if I go back to that Venn diagram and it had golf, technology, and great people,
Yeah.
like that was where I wanted to go next. And so I think I had coffees and lunches and conversations with Artie for over a year before we ended up figuring out how to make it happen. And then I came on board and worked for Ben Sharp initially. And then when Ben moved to be the head of Callaway Golf in Europe, I filled his spot from going kind of from commercial director into the president role.
Very cool. Let me ask you about the broadcast side. We haven't touched on that. So, who is
Yeah.
your customer? Who do you have the relationships with on the broadcast? Is it the producers? Is it the Sellers, Shies, and Tommy Roys of the world? Is it the networks? Like,
All of the above.
okay, all right. Because yeah, I did some analyst work with ESPN at TGL this year, and then
Okay.
I
Yes.
did the PGA Championship with ESPN. So I'm, just looking around trying to figure out that world, and I was wondering who it is that you would work
It's
with.
it is a combination of the networks, the governing bodies. There's a lot of folks interested, and the nice thing about it is, again, most of the conversations are centered around what is the consumer
Yeah,
experience like? How are they consuming it? And so that's kind of the common thread that gets us all in the same space. So not only from what are we delivering this year, but we are always talking about the innovation for next year
yeah,
down the road or 2 years from now. So there's always a flow of innovation happening behind the scenes to deliver what the consumer probably thinks, hey, they thought of this yesterday and it's now on TV. It's probably been in the works for 24 months,
yeah.
right?
I think having just a little bit of exposure to that TV broadcast world, one thing I've been very impressed with is those folks keep the viewer like very top of mind. Every conversation I've had um, is always like, this is what the viewer's thinking. This is who tunes in. It's not about like do this, do that, or it's always focused on the viewer, the fan, the customer. Like that's what they default to. And I think it's easy in a lot of businesses to not do that. So
Yeah.
they're laser focused in the television world.
I agree, and that's why it's fun to work with them because
Yeah.
again, it's kind of going back to the consumer in the middle, and what do they need, and what are we solving for, and it's very exciting to deliver against that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Scott, what are you most excited about as a closer?
As a closer, I'm super excited about our business in that if you really think about it, we do have a great distribution network and we've got 1,500 customers and we're excited for all of them. That there's still another 40,000
Yeah.
around the globe that are in the range business or adjacent to the range business that don't have technology. So the total addressable market here and what we could grow really for all of golf
Yeah.
in terms of getting more people in, that's super exciting. It's distributing the technology to places all over the globe. I just got back from a trip. We went Japan, Australia, New Zealand, back
Wow.
to back to back. And so we saw customers in Tokyo at very compact ranges, high volume, high density, full. I mean, from 24 bays to 300 bays with technology, everyone engaged. And then you go to Melbourne and you see a completely different kind of golf. But the golf there was also busy. All the bays were busy. People were using the technology in a different way. Then you go to New Zealand and it's slightly different there as well. And there's new ranges opening up in the middle of sheep fields in the most beautiful settings you've ever seen. And then you drive up and there's a 30 bay range with technology, with food and beverage, and it's full of players that you can tell have not necessarily been playing a lot of golf, but they are having a great time. And when you get back from those trips, it's just super energizing to think of how many more times that's happening, and the size of the sport has to be growing. Like you can just go out and if you see enough customers, you understand that it's in a really good place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, closer number two. Have you been to a TGL match? And what do you think about SoFi Center and TGL?
So I haven't been to a live match, but I've been to SoFi Center twice
Oh,
and been
okay.
able to hit it and do the short game. Like I love all of it.
Yeah.
It's like a magical place. I love the event. I love the content, and I think it's getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And with the WTGL coming, I think that's just another angle that's going to grow. And again, I think that is, to your point earlier, it is ripe to have conversations about live golf going on TV
Yep.
and then bringing that to the people across the globe. Like there's just seems like there's some amazing opportunities there. So I'm very bullish on it.
Agreed. Well, Scott, very interesting conversation. I will be following along with TopTracer very closely. Hopefully, we can bump into each other at a TGL match. It is fun to get in there and play yourself, but it's really fun when the best players in the world are playing. You can
Yes, it is.
sit back, have a beer, and watch those guys do their thing. So, um,
Exactly.
appreciate your time, and thanks for listening to the Course Record Show. If you enjoyed the conversation, please subscribe, pass it along to a friend, and we'll catch you next time.